once you understand that it's the dominant crypto network, now the issue is, well, why should I buy Bitcoin instead of gold? Well, the gold supply is going to double every 30 years. And you can't teleport gold 60 times a second. And the AI is not going to want the gold, right? And you can't put gold on your iPhone, right? Gold's not digital. If you have $100 million and you put it into gold and you wait 100 years, you'll have $12 million worth of gold. That's why you don't want gold. If you have $100 million of Bitcoin and you hold it 100 years, you'll still have the $100 million worth of Bitcoin. A short summary, why is Bitcoin better? First of all, if I had 100 rich families and they lived all over the world and they didn't trust the government and they didn't trust a bank and they didn't trust a corporation and they had a lot of money and they wanted to keep their money for 1,000 years. If God came down from heaven above and said, hey, I'll run the God Bank, issue 21 million God coin, and I will make sure that no one can steal your God coins. You can buy in however you want and you can trade telepathically with each other and I'll do this for free. They'd probably accept that, right? The history of the human race is people looking to heaven to solve their problems in every religion. Okay. In the absence of God coin and God coming down to do this, the next best thing would be an intelligent engineer that creates a crypto network that combines semiconductor technology, public-private key encryption, and the internet, TCP/IP, okay? That's a crypto coin. So now we create a crypto coin, and the question is, who's going to run the software? Because nobody trusts anybody, and maybe I trust you and you trust me, but I don't trust your idiot great-grandson. You don't even had him yet. I mean, how could we trust your great-great-grandchild? Okay, so we're all going to run the software, and we're going to run it on thousands and hundreds of thousands of nodes, and anybody whose software cheats gets kicked off the network. Okay, that's the idea of Bitcoin. It's basically a crypto asset network. Now the question is, okay, I figured that out. Now what kind of monetary policy I want? I want 21 million hard cap forever, never can make any more. I want a scarcity. I don't want nobody can make any more. Okay, that's good. Now the question is, okay, I did that. Now which network is going to win? So we launched Bitcoin as the 40th try, and the first one with the right monetary policy, the right cryptography, and an equitable launch. Satoshi launches it, walks away forever, disclaims beneficial ownership. It's an immaculate conception. Okay, what if somebody else launched another crypto network with an immaculate conception? You know, there's been 5 million cryptos launched. Most of them are not immaculately conceived. Some of them still have the founding teams that are getting rich off of them. When there's a founding team getting rich off of them with a jet and with an office or with a mansion, it doesn't look immaculate. There's no Satoshi in a swimming pool flying his jet around as a billionaire, right? We absolutely know there isn't because the coins have not moved in 15 years and we can see them. So now the question is, you've got all these smart families and they're staring at the crypto gold network, if you will, or gold's not even a good example, just the crypto bank. And the question is, which network is the best one? Well, we sort through it and we try Bitcoin and it kind of works for a while and then we trust it and more money gets onto it. And, you know, and for a while we're not sure. And then 2020, some crazy entrepreneur buys $250 million of it for a public company. And that's the first time in 10 years, anybody ever bought $250 million on that network. And people are like, oh my God. Yeah. And then that same person buys another $9.7 billion of it. And so in that time where there's one company, MicroStrategy, buying $10 billion of that asset, not a single person ever publicly spent $250 million on any other crypto asset, ever. Of the 5 million, nobody even put in the first 250 million. Nobody put in 100 million, right? Go find it. You won't find it. So now you have an interesting issue, which is, why is Bitcoin the winner? It's because all the smart money in the world decided that's the winner. Did it have to be? Well, no, it's like, why do we speak English? Because all the rich, powerful people decided on English. Could it have been a different language? It could have been French. Napoleon wanted it to be French, but it wasn't French. It was English. Why do we use base 10 math? Because all of the rich, powerful engineering companies use it. Is it the only form of math? No. There's base 2, base 8, base 16. We have the big joke about the metric system, right? We're still trying to work through that protocol. So Bitcoin is the protocol that the rich, powerful, smart people chose. Okay, so you can fork it and create your own, and you will have to find stupid, poor people to buy yours. But why would I actually want to put all my money in the network with the stupid, poor people when I've already got the network with the smart, rich people, right? And the result of that is Bitcoin is the most powerful crypto network in the world, and you can measure it by a computer power, 700 exahash. That's $40 billion of special purpose semiconductors that generate more hashes than all the computer power of Microsoft, all the computer power of Amazon, all the computer power of Meta. If they all ganged up on it, they still can't get to 700 exahash. It's the most powerful computer network. Then it has 18 gigawatts. 18 gigawatts of electric power. That's the most powerful, electrically powerful network. 18 gigawatts is more power than the US Navy uses to run all the aircraft carriers and the destroyers and the battleships.
Wow.
We conquered the world with less than 18 gigawatts of power. It's 18 full-on nuclear reactors running full-on, right? Spread everywhere in the world. Okay, how does that compare to the second best? The second best has like 0.1% that much power. How about the hash rate? 1%, maybe. And then $800 billion of actual capital. MicroStrategy spent $10 billion to get 1.2%. Work it out in your head. Look at the 4-year simple moving average of Bitcoin, multiply it by the number of Bitcoin. Look at the trading volume. Look at real people, thousands of institutional investors with real money at risk. The Bitcoin miners, the BlackRocks, etc. Right? Like $70 billion, $60 billion put into just the ETFs alone. Real money, right? 800 billion in capital has backed the network. So what's the second best? The second best doesn't even have 8. Like 99% of the real money went into the Bitcoin network. Everything else you read about in crypto, right? All the other crypto assets that might be a store of value. I'm not counting the stable coins because they're just dollar pegged. But everything else probably doesn't even have 8 billion. It might have a few $1 billion, right? So it's like 99% to 99.9% dominant. And then you go to the political power. Well, there's 420 million crypto people that love crypto, but what's the reserve asset of crypto? It's Bitcoin. 420 million voters, and then 200 million people that hold an instrument backed by Bitcoin. So, what's the source of the network? Political power, electrical power, digital, computer power, economic power, right? That's the source of power of the network. And it's like, well, why should I buy that? Well, once you understand that it's the dominant crypto network, now the issue is, well, why should I buy Bitcoin instead of gold? Well, the gold supply is going to double every 30 years. And you can't teleport gold 60 times a second. And the AI is not going to want the gold, right? And you can't put gold on your iPhone, right? Gold's not digital. If you have $100 million and you put it into gold and you wait 100 years, you'll have $12 million worth of gold. That's why you don't want gold. If you have $100 million of Bitcoin and you hold it 100 years, you'll still have the $100 million worth of Bitcoin, right? So gold is the best of the commodities, but it's awful because it's got a 2% inflation rate. What's the difference between 2% inflation rate and 0% inflation rate? It's the difference between living 30 years and living forever. Like one is mortal, okay? Here's your choice. Take the orange pill, you live forever. Take the gold pill, you live, you're half dead in 30 years, you're half dead, you're gonna live 75, 80 and you're dead, right? This is a mortal life, this is immortal life. That's the difference between 0 and 2%. Gold is the greatest of the commodities. Every other commodity inflates at 10% a year, 20% a year, 50% a year. They're awful. Commodities are awful stores of value. But what are they good at? Here's what they're good at. Commodities are ethically sound. Okay? That means they're an asset without an issuer. You can promote gold or a chicken in every pot or land or silver, or you can promote soybeans, or you can tell people to keep kerosene behind their house. Those are commodities. You cannot promote a security. A security is an asset with an issuer. If a senator says, God bless Apple, she's promoting a security. If a senator says, God bless Bitcoin, they're promoting a commodity. It's like promoting bluegrass music. It's like promoting fasting. It's simply a cultural or a technical idea. So what do you want as your long-term store of value? You want something economically sound. That means absolutely zero inflation rate forever, and nobody can screw with that. You want something ethically sound. That means an asset without an issuer, where the inventor, Prometheus, disappeared. You own fire, electricity, you can use it. The English language, you can use it. Math, you can use it. Bitcoin, you can use it. There's no company with copyright that charges you a royalty, right? It needs to be ethically sound, needs to be a commodity, right? It needs to be technically sound, good engineering. And so, a building is sort of economically sound, not as good as Bitcoin because you've got property taxes and entropy, and
earthquakes happen.
And a share of Magnificent Seven, it's kind of economically sound, but it's a security. And if the Chinese decide to seize Apple's assets, or if the US seizes a Chinese company's assets, you've got all sorts of political risk. But Bitcoin is both the economically sound asset and it's the ethically sound asset, but it's a big tech digital network. It means that I can move $100 billion a million times a second. Okay, so the big idea is I can give a capital asset to 8 billion people on their mobile phone, and 10 million computers can trade it 1 million times an hour across every jurisdiction, right? And so if you want to give music to 8 billion people, you need digital music. You can't do it with records and 8-track tapes. And if you want to give digital communications, right? You want to give education to 8 billion people, you need digital education. You need to give them lectures for free for the cost of electrons. And if you want to give wealth to 8 billion people, you need digital capital. You need to put your wealth on your iPhone, and you need to know that it will last forever. And I just ask anybody, I ask you, what do you own in your life that you think your family will still have intact that will be valuable 300 years from now? Right? What would that be, right? Because there's no conventional thing, there's no company that's going to last 300 years, right? They might not live in New Zealand 300 years from now. I could give you 10,000 acres in Auckland, and the issue is, so can you take it with you when the government changes and they decide to seize the assets of people with blue eyes?